Warning. The following fanfic reading is for mature audiences only. It contains explicit language and sexually suggestive themes such as innuendos and adult jokes. Viewers' discretion is advised. On a Cross and Arrow, written by Connor Cogwork. Chapter 5, With a Finger Crossed. There wasn't even a knock. The library door slammed open as a stallion groggily weaved his way inside.
Dusk! Dusk! I gotta talk to you!
Rainbow?
Came a voice behind a stack of books. A unicorn's head popped up from the mess of volumes.
Rainbow, whoa, sweet Solaris, what happened to you?
It's not as bad as it looks.
Blitz assured, woozily waving off the patch of dark purple that had encompassed half his face.
Seriously, I've handled worse.
I sincerely doubt that. Get your flank over here. Let me have a look at that. Did you even go to a clinic?
And risk being seen in public with a shiner like this?
He trotted over unsteadily before collapsing onto his haunches.
Come on, Brony. I've got an image to keep up after all.
There was a clicking of the tongue as a first aid book was levitated over.
Sometimes you're just as bad as elusive.
Hey, you take that back!
The stallion demanded, shooting onto all 4 feet before wobbling and falling flat back on his flank.
Ow!
Dusk simply sighed as his horn lit up and he went to work, healing his friend to the best of his abilities.
So, what happened, if you don't mind my asking?
Dusk. I didn't believe you at first, but it turns out you're right. There are weird ponies in Ponyville.
The purple stallion's eyes widened, though he kept his concentration on the wound.
Really? You saw one?
Saw one? Dusk, she was in my house! Oh, that filly faker. I get my hooves on her.
Wait. Philly faker?
Yeah, filly faker. Freaky as all hay, Dusk. She was obviously a mare, but she looks exactly like me. The coat, the mane, even my cutie mark. And don't even get me started on her flying.
The Pegasus was obviously still in a tizzy, his hooves waving in the air at his last sentence.
Blitz, hold still. This is a complicated spell. If you keep moving like that, I'm gonna wind up giving you a third eye.
His patient quickly complied and allowed the student to continue his work. At length, the unicorn resumed the discussion.
Her flying? I think you'd be able to catch her. Aren't you the fastest flyer in Equestria, after all?
You think?
Blitz's rose eyes darted around the library to see if any pony else was present, which there wasn't, except for Spine snoozing on a biography of Queen Irontail, before continuing.
But I just could not catch up to her. I always managed to get within like 3-4 yards distance from her, but she always managed to stay just out of reach. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, she was just a girl. I should have caught up to her easily.
There are trade-offs to each gender, you know. A Pegasus stallion like you usually has more developed muscles to account for the weight and drag that the male form usually has. But a mare's form is much more slender and aerodynamically shaped. So even if their wing muscles aren't as developed, they would still be able to keep up with the strongest stallion out there.
I thought you didn't attend flight school.
Well, you did, and yet this didn't occur to you? What does that say about how you spend your study time?
There was a roll of the eyes as he changed the subject.
Either way, next time I see her, I'm giving her a piece of my mind, especially after the way she pulled a fast one on me.
A fast one on...
Suddenly, Dusk's complexion lightened as the pieces were put together. A hoof went up to his face as he tried to suppress the snicker that was forming.
Blitz, this bruise on your head, did she?
No, it was just an accident. Nothing major.
Rainbow blurted, trying his best to look casual, though the unicorn knew his body language well enough to know that he was in denial.
She did, didn't she? She booked you! You got booked by a girl!
Multi-hued mane drooping, the stallion lowered his head.
Twice.
Dusk was tempted to fall to the floor and began laughing in much the same manner Blitz had when they first met. However, he managed to recover his chuckles, though the grin still remained.
I'm so sorry, Blitz. That was terrible of me. I never thought the day would come.
Please don't tell the rest of the guys about this.
Rainbow pleaded, his hooves in prayer form.
If Applejack hears a word of it, he'll never let me live it down.
The unicorn gave another chuckle before he sighed and nodded.
I promise, Rainbow, I won't tell anyone.
Bubbleberry swear?
Another sigh and roll of the eyes before the stallion got to his haunches.
Cross my heart, hope to fly, stick a cupcake in my...
Pause, close eyelid, then touch.
eye.
Blitz relaxed after that, allowing Dusk to resume his healing spell. Already he could tell that there would still be a dark spot right above his eye after he finished. But something like that wouldn't take long to heal naturally. Again, he restarted the topic.
So, twice you say? Like, one right after the other, or once?
Once, while I was chasing her. The second right before I lost her.
You lost her? How'd she manage to do that?
She performed it.
A raised eyebrow.
It?
My move, Dusk. My signature move.
Blitz, you don't mean the...
A heavy nod.
She performed a double rain boom. By the time I recovered from the shockwave, she was long gone.
The medical tome that the unicorn had been holding suddenly fell to the floor. Rainbow blinked as he felt his friend's magical energies release their hold on his head. He prodded the side of his face with a hoof, glad to see that the earlier throbbing and dizziness that was present before. He then redirected his attention to Dusk, just in time to see the look on his face shift from open-mouthed shock to newfound determination.
Thanks, Blitz.
He said, though his voice had a hollow tone to it. The purple stallion turned on the spot and quickly trotted over to a nearby desk, a quill flying out of an ink pot as he began quickly scribbling on the piece of parchment there.
Dusk?
The Pegasus got to his feet carefully, testing for wooziness, before joining his friend.
What's going on, Brony? You know something about these ponies. I can tell. Let's hear it.
The other pony was hesitant.
I'm not sure if this theory I have is sound, Blitz, but after what you've told me today, the evidence is overwhelming. I'm also not sure if you'll believe me.
Hey, don't be like that, Dusk. I trust you, you know? Whatever you have to say, I'll listen.
He regarded his friend with a look of gratitude at those words.
Thanks, Blitz. Okay, then.
He turned back to the paper.
Tell me, what do you know about alternate dimensions?
Oh my, this simply won't do at all!
A number of heads reared up at the words. They had come from a white unicorn mare who was entering the hedge with a towel wrapped around both her mane and her tail, the wet condition of her fur due to the result of bathing in a nearby stream.
What's up, Rarity?
Applejack asked, a half-eaten Macintosh in her hoof. The dressmaker cried, as a conditioner bottle flew out from her towel. A few squeezes produced whistling noises, signaling its empty state.
I've completely run out of my favorite conditioner!
Blue and orange ponies rolled their eyes. Twilight gave a flat, confused look. Fluttershy, ever sympathetic, went,
Aww.
Pinkie took the bottle in her own hooves and attempted to perform Equestria the Beautiful with it.
It's just soap, Rarity. You can live a few days without it.
Maybe you can,
Blue eyes rolled at the Pegasus.
but I assure you, most of us more refined types require more frequent upkeep than others. And simply because we've been secluding ourselves away in this, cozy little habitat,
She regarded their surroundings with an apologetic smile.
does not mean I cannot look my best at all times.
Twilight groaned to herself, but gave a smile to her friend.
We know, Rarity. We know. I'm sorry about your soap, but just hang on for a while longer. I've almost restored my power. With luck, by the end of today, we'll be back home, and all of this will be behind us.
Whew! About gall darn time, too. Today is our third day in this here world, ain't it? I kinda lost track of time.
There were murmurs of agreement all around. Rarity, though she wanted to believe that it would be as easy as it was said, still had the reservation in her heart that it wouldn't be.
It doesn't hurt to prepare for the long run. Besides, there's still that other matter.
The unicorn turned her eyes onto the student.
You're right, of course. Sorry for my complaining, dears. But, just in case, Twilight, you wouldn't happen to know how to transform a pear into a bottle of hair conditioner, would you?
Twilight sighed with a smile, but shook her head.
Normally, I wouldn't turn you down, but I need to keep as much energy as I can for the spell tonight. Sorry.
She got a nod in return.
That's quite all right, dearie. I suppose there's just no helping it.
She trotted over to a corner where a mirror had been mounted on the wall, a brush levitating over as she removed the towel from her mane and began to groom it.
I'll just have to go into town today.
She counted up to 5 seconds before the walls of the hedge reverberated with a unanimous
Rarity!
Applejack thundered, skidding to a stop beside the mare.
Have y'all been awake the past 2 days? Every time one of us steps out there, we wind up making a commotion!
This is too much!
Twilight added, galloping up to her other side.
You're seriously going to risk being discovered and found over a bottle of shampoo?
Oh, ladies, please.
Rarity soothed, her composure unruffled despite the heat directed at her.
I'm no madmare, you're all aware. There is a larger overlying reason as to why I must venture into the strange outdoors. Shampoo would just be a side benefit.
What in the hell are you talking about?
Rainbow yelled, hovering with a frustrated expression.
We have plenty of cases where you've gone over the deep end. What makes what you're planning on doing any different?
If you'll allow me to speak, then I'll tell you why.
She then directed her gaze at the student, never halting with her brushstrokes.
Twilight, dear, I'm a bit surprised that even you think this trip is unnecessary.
Rarity!
Twilight's expression was one of confusion and hurt.
Seriously, what are you going on about?
Can you recall for me the separate items that you needed in order to activate the spell in the first place?
In every pony's current state of mind, the question seemed like a non sequitur. However, the magician humored her friend as she began to list the objects.
A vessel of white to hold it down.
They all looked at the table. The vase sat there, today's flower choice being a maroon tulip.
A feather of blue to match the sky round.
Rainbow Dash preened at this. It had required one of her feathers the first time around.
A stone of fire from light which grows.
Rarity levitated a ruby from her saddle pack, the surface gleaming flawlessly.
And the essence of a flower for which the sun glows.
Silence. Looks of realization began to percolate on every pony's face.
Sunflower oil! We plumb done forgot the sunflower oil!
Rarity did her best to refrain her smile from getting too smug as Twilight gaped.
I'm sorry, dears. I thought you had all remembered. I couldn't help but notice that there wasn't any sunflower oil in the bags after Fluttershy and Applejack did their shopping trips. It is a key ingredient, isn't it?
It is.
The lavender pony spoke, an embarrassed blush on her cheeks.
I can't believe I didn't. And here I thought. I'm sorry, I thought you were.
There was Tisk as a hug and nuzzle was exchanged.
Oh, think nothing of it, dear. We've all been out of sorts. I don't blame you in the least for thinking I'd become a crazy cat lady. You mean you're not?
Well, better to have found out sooner than later.
Fluttershy spoke, directing attention towards herself.
Imagine if we had waited until tonight and then found out.
Yeah, that would have been a right nasty surprise. Count on Rarity to notice something like that in the nick of time.
Her green eyes gave her friend a look of respect.
Okay, so now we know.
Dash added, alighting on the floor once more.
So, I guess we pull bits again? I'm kinda running low over here myself. Rarity?
The white unicorn turned towards Twilight at the mentioning of her name.
Since you were the one who brought it up, were you volunteering?
Well, yes, I suppose I was.
Any particular reason why it should be you and not Applejack again?
Well, dear, we're not doing a big shopping trip like we have done the past 2 days. All that I need to get is a bottle of sunflower oil and some shampoo. I have more than enough bits, so don't worry about pooling any money for me. Also,
She leaned into the purple pony.
nothing against them, but I am no Rainbow Dash or Pinkie Pie. I am quite well and aware of the situation we are currently in. You can count on me to keep my cool and not create a scene, should something unforeseen crop up. Lastly,
She then turned to look back at the farmer.
not to slight against you, Applejack, but you don't know the exact kind and brand of conditioner that my coiffure requires.
She got a good-natured eye roll in response. Twilight sat there and thought for a while before she looked back up, her decision made.
Okay then, I'll let you do it. But we need to get you into a disguise before you step foot into Ponyville.
Here, Rarity gleamed.
Ooh, you needn't worry about that too much, Twilight dear. I have just the thing. Meet Rarity Umbrella.
No pony had any idea where she had obtained a sun umbrella from, but it did match to the red bow that she had affixed to her hair. Surprisingly, she wore nothing else except for a blank flank.
So, where did you learn this spell again?
Twilight asked, her eyes wide open as Rarity's horn glowed, the diamonds on the dressmaker's hindquarters slowly fading into obscurity.
Well, you see, I was among the first of my friends in class to gain my cutie mark.
The unicorn began, her face a picture of concentration.
I admit I was somewhat ostracized by my peers as a result at first. Eventually, I found a spell in a book that temporarily removed a cutie mark from view for a few hours at a time. Armed with that, I would head into school, cast the spell, be able to commune with my friends, and then head back home.
Oh my.
Fluttershy cooed, her own eyes also wide and watching, a look of worry across her face.
Were you picked on badly by the other Coulson fillies?
Oh, there were a few words said here and there. You know how the youth are.
Rarity waved it off.
Eventually, my friends began to gain their cutie marks as well. And so I ceased the usage of the spell. I even offered to teach it to a few of them. I never thought a scenario would arise where I would need to use it once more.
I had to say, Cube, up till today, I'm kinda glad it never did too.
Applejack added, an unsettled look in her eyes.
That's just plain creepy, if you ask me.
I think it's done. Congratulations, Rarity. You are now a fully grown adult blank flank.
The white mare looked back at her hindquarters and nodded.
Not for long, though. Fluttershy, if you'd be so kind, my makeup kit.
How much stuff did you bring with you? I got no clue how you managed to make all that fit into those saddlebags in the first place.
Oh, just the bare essentials, nothing more.
She smiled as the timid pony returned with a black box in her mouth. Giving a nod, her horn lit as the case was levitated, then opened, a black mascara pencil floating out. Turning her head, she then concentrated as she began doodling on her own flanks, custom making a pair of kitty marks. After a minute or so, she had one. It was a pair of opened umbrellas, both crossed and tilted perpendicular to each other, the red tops glowing as solid as the real thing.
Rarity Umbrella! Maker of fine specialty umbrellas, custom fashioned to fit every pony's unique specialty individual needs.
Wow!
Pinky cooed, a hoof wavering as if to touch the mark.
It looks so real. I must admit, that is extraordinary. I would be hard-pressed to see you as anything but genuine.
The rest of the ponies gave their approval, as Rarity positively glowed from all the comments.
Thank you, my dears. Whew.
She exhaled, picking up her umbrella and a small neck bag, strutting towards the exit.
I shan't be long, Twilight. You can trust me on this, I hope.
No, I trust you.
The student answered, an honest smile on her face.
Just remember, we're all counting on you.
Better you than me, Rarity. Go get him!
Don't you worry, girls.
The unicorn chimed back as she slipped out between the bushes.
That's exactly what I'm planning on doing.
Wow, what a gal!
The party pony cheered as she hopped back towards the rock table.
I totally forgot all about the sunny sunflower sun oil sunny stuff.
Me too.
Twilight replied, turning away from the exit.
Once again, she proves her knack for detail. If you say so.
Rainbow said, lazily lying on her back.
Personally, I think she was just getting tired of being cooped up in here with all of us. Well, that wouldn't make sense. I noticed that she slept on the far end of the cave last night. Maybe it was my snoring.
Hey, Fluttershy! Maybe she's lucky she'll run into Butterscotch today, too!
The thought made the yellow Pegasus' cheeks tint pink, a sight that the apple farmer couldn't help but chuckle over.
That'd be a nice surprise, wouldn't it, Surecube? I ain't the romantic type usually, but I still think the two of you are cuter than two peas in a pod. And I know Rarity'd agree with me, should she see him.
The orange pony continued trotting towards the table.
I mean, Rarity knows what all goes into a relationship anyways. Sometimes it's the opposites that attract, and then other times it means finding your own.
She suddenly stopped, her hat falling off due to leftover forward momentum. Every pony stared at Applejack, rather confused.
AJ? What? Did you think of something?
Twilight asked, approaching her friend cautiously. Rainbow thought she heard a creaking sound as the blonde slowly turned her head to face the unicorn, green eyes hollow and haunted.
Twi, I can only think of 2 stores in all Ponyville that sell shampoo, and one of them ain't open today.
There was silence that was shortly punctuated by a quiet,
Oh, the luxury Lotus Spa is closed on Sundays.
Twilight's brows narrowed.
And the only other store that I can think of is Carousel Boot.
It hit her. She turned back to the hedge's entrance, eyes as wide as dinner plates.
Rarity! Why, she did that on purpose! Is she really?
Dash exclaimed, her wings now beating in panic.
She's going to the Carousel Boutique to meet her male self! We gotta stop her!
Twilight was nearest, and thus was the first one out the exit. The rest of the mares were momentarily discombobulated by the shock, but they all got to their hooves and galloped towards the opening. Right in time for the purple unicorn to bolt back inside, her eyes now achieving apoplectic levels of panic as she furiously hissed.
Every pony, heads down and keep quiet!
Quiet, but Twilight, I thought you were gonna go see Rarity for making up.
A muzzle composed of pure magic materialized around the pink pony's mouth, effectively silencing her. The resultant quiet was enough to allow them to hear a faint rustling. Some pony was outside.
Twilight. Who is it? It's him.
Looks of confusion were traded for a few minutes, up until they heard a voice pipe up from outside.
Okay, what are we doing here again, Dusk?
We're looking, that's what. Look, you remember what happened the other day with Butterscotch, right?
How can I forget? Seriously, man. How cold can you get? Checking out a book and then claiming you don't have it?
That's besides the point, Spines. Think back. You remember hearing about the Mare Butterscotch met later?
The one Blitz says is Scotch's girlfriend?
That's the one.
Twilight looked over at Fluttershy's face, the yellow Pegasus' cheeks flushed red, tears beating in her eyes.
I think the Butterscotch that visited us in the library and the mare he met later are one and the same.
Really? And what makes you think she'd be out here at the edge of the Everfree?
Because of the second sighting that Blitz told me about yesterday. You heard about the double rainbow, right?
Yeah, caused quite a commotion. Shouldn't Rainbow Blitz have been proud of that?
He would have been, if it hadn't been for the fact that it was his doppelganger who did it, not him.
There was a scuffling sound. Twilight could imagine Spines nearly slipping off her friend's back.
Doppel? You mean a twin?
Yeah, a twin or a clone. Blitz said they looked just like him, save for the fact that she was a mare. In his own words, a filly faker.
Why, you little...
Now Twilight heard a motion to her left. She looked up in time to see Applejack restraining Dash from flying straight out into the open, hooves blazing.
Either way, he told me that the female Blitz had headed off in the direction of the Everfree Forest. I've already been out to Zircon's hut today, and he told me he hadn't seen anything weird out there lately. So I'm assuming our doppelgangers are keeping the base a little closer to home.
Ah, I get you, Brony.
The dragoness could be imagined nodding her head.
So, it's a search party then, eh? Shouldn't you have called the rest of the gang?
I was tempted to, but I decided against it. The last thing we need is for Barry to go and make this a real party.
There was a stamp of hooves right outside the hedge's entrance as the voice became loud and clear.
No, I think we can do this. We should be able to find ourselves out here. Or I'm not the prize student of Prince Solaris, Duskshine.
Down in that burrow, the prized student of Princess Celestia, Twilight Sparkle, felt a knot begin to form in the pit of her stomach as her eyes darted over to her green-backed hardcover book.
I should have had Fluttershy return it the first day.
Rarity Umbrell trotted through Ponyville with a skip and bounce in her step. She was a mare on a mission, even if she hadn't been fully honest with her friends on what that mission was. Hearing the tales of the mares one by one meeting their masculine halves had kindled an emotion that she'd not welcomed, but tolerated nonetheless. Jealousy. And after having heard and witnessed the apparent success of Fluttershy's crush, despite having not been looking in the first place, the story had filled her with yet another feeling. Hope, which she held on to as she saw the familiar spire of Carousel Boutique. Her heart a titter, she quickly reviewed her mental checklist. She had gone ahead and purchased the bottle of sunflower oil, which had gone without a hitch. She would meet with her better half and see how compatible they really were. She had been admittedly put off by AJ and Dash's own stories, but she believed she knew her own self better than that. Should they hit it off, she would ask for a dress from him, and of course, a bottle of shampoo. Should they continue warming up, and should she really feel it, she would express her undying love towards him. And should that be met with joy in his eyes?
Ooh, Rarity! You naughty mare for even thinking that.
Quickly, she checked her mane and adjusted her umbrella. The faux cutie mark was still in place. She hoped she wouldn't get sweaty. Should that happen, it would surely run something awful. Taking a deep breath, she then trotted up to the door and daintily produced a few knocks on its frame.
Coming!
She heard a rich contralto sing from inside. Already, her knees felt weak. The doorknob jangled before the barrier pulled aside, allowing her to behold the mirror of her soul. He was tall, just as she knew he'd be. His deep purple mane was cut short, but oh so stylishly so. His legs, though not superbly toned, were still of reasonable build, complementing his distinguished torso and chin. But his flanks... oh, his flanks! Her diamond cutie marks looked absolutely superb, seated as they were upon such firm, voluptuous, and plump cheeks. She had to wrest her eyes away from them and continue viewing her male self, taking in his nose. That horn her inner schoolgirl squealed at its length. And finally, his deep, star-studded eyes, as blue as the ocean itself beneath a clear summer sky. Eyes that were currently regarding her with about the same amount of fascination that she had been giving him. The both of them coughed into their hooves at roughly the same time, before affirming their airs of grace. The stallion spoke first.
Greetings, and welcome to Carousel Boutique. My name...
He paused for a dramatic beat, before continuing.
Is elusive. How may I be of service to you today, my lady?
She was screaming to herself inside her own head.
He said, my lady, you know you'd never say my good sir unless the customer you find really cute.
Greetings, Sir Elusive.
She began, her cultured tenor coming out in full force.
My name is Rarity Umbrella. I have heard good word across Equestria of your fine works in the fields of clothing and design.
Oh? And what is it that is said on the streets of Equestria?
She gave him a warm smile, eyes sparkling as she spoke.
That your suits and dresses are among some of the most amazing designs ever seen by pony eyes. That you put care and diligence into each and every one of your works. Always doing your best, always asking your customers to trust in you, and never leaving your shop disappointed.
She was essentially patting herself on the back. But what did she care? It was worth it to see the shine of adoration come forth from Elusive's eyes, before he stepped back and bowed his head.
Please step inside, my lady, so we may talk.
Head held high, and with a practiced sway in her step, she strutted in, hoping her feminine wiles really were having an effect on her masculine self. She was not disappointed as she felt eyes upon her flanks. The shop's interior was not that different from her home dimension, honestly. She could see a few distinct changes. Her personal projects postboard now contained more suits than dresses, which was to be expected. The men's fabric pile was fuller than the girls' pile, and over on a folded piece of blue fabric snoozed a huge white ball of fluff.
Do be careful of Alexandrite. He doesn't take kindly to guests.
I will, dear, don't worry. I have a cat of my own, you know, and she's just about the same way.
Oh-ho!
Came the reply as he trotted up next to her.
The joys of feline ownership. Or pains, rather. Am I right?
They both shared a hearty chuckle, before relaxing and taking each other in yet again.
Can I get you anything to drink, Miss Umbrella?
A simple water with a lime twist will do.
His eyes perked up, apparently surprised at the serendipity that he just so happened to have sliced limes in his kitchen. As he bowed and turned towards the back, she spoke up again.
And Elusive, sir? Just call me Rarity. I insist.
She gave him a sweet smile. He nodded, returning her smile. As he departed, both unicorns let their smiles slip into big, goofy grins. Upon his return, she had already checked out the shop more in depth again, finding nothing of particular surprise in the area. She had given thought to trying to pet the cat, but given Opal's tendencies in her world, she felt that she should take the warnings to heart and leave him be. The drink was presented to her. Much to her surprise, it was much more than a simple glass of water. Lime wedges were present, yes, but there was also a straw. As she sipped at it, a unique flavor enveloped her tongue, and a delightful smell filled her nose. A shot of something strong in the concoction. He had, in effect, mixed her favorite drink. Her eyes shone in outright gratitude as she stared at him. He simply bowed his head with a smile.
Only the best. For my future patrons.
Oh, Celestia! He really is feeling the same way about me.
Butterflies abounded in her stomach, her heart singing at the rightness of it all. For a moment more, they sat, simply enjoying each other's company, her sipping her drink, before she finally made her next move.
Right, on to business.
Right.
He agreed, sitting up straight.
What may I help you with today, Rarity?
I'm looking for for something simple, not very large, but not very complex. A saddle, more or less.
She stated, her umbrella coming up and opening.
I had originally brought this umbrella as a template for you to work off of in terms of theme and design. But I should have realized that such a request would have been an outright insult to your abilities.
Oh no, that's quite alright, my dear.
The white stallion waved off the words.
I'm more than willing to follow a theme, if you so wish. Solaris knows I've done plenty of odd requests in my time.
He then leaned in, conspiratorially grinning.
I should tell you about the time I designed these absolutely horrid suits at the behest of my friends when we went to the Grand Galloping Gala.
She leaned in as well, returning his grin.
Oh, I'd simply love to hear about it. Oh, for the gala? I had heard you designed ensembles for it every year, but not that you had attended yourself.
He sighed theatrically, a hoof going to his forehead.
Alas, I did attend that trainwreck of a social gathering. I had gone there on the hopes and dreams of high society and glamour. Not to mention to gain the chance of meeting who I thought would be my true love.
He tracked his eyes to the floor.
And it was supposed to be the best night ever. Oh, Princess Bluebell.
Personally, I thought they deserved every ounce of cake they got.
She took another sip of her drink before realizing that Elusive had fixed her with a wide-eyed look. Suddenly, a hot blush spread across her face as she realized her slip.
I must confess, I was at the gala too this year. I saw the cake.
Now it was the stallion's turn to blush as he looked down.
Sorry you had to see such a shameful display.
Oh, not at all, my dear. She was a royal pain anyway.
She was. You're right. She deserved every ounce of cake she got.
I mean, honestly.
She leaned forward, now on a roll. She can only guess at what events differed from her own at Canterlot, but she had a feeling her guesses were good ones.
There are such things as being gentlemanly, right? But I bet she simply took you for granted, didn't she?
She did! She barely acknowledged that I existed!
Oh, what shamefulness! For a lady to act that way! A gentle colt is there to offer his support, after all!
She turned her nose up at everything I did for her!
Oh, poor Applejack. I was so distraught when she spat out his fritters.
Oh, rest assured, if I ever had a stallion there to wait on me, I would have returned his every motion with the thankfulness and gratitude he so richly deserved.
You really mean that? Don't you, Miss Rarity?
With all my soul, Sir Elusive.
She answered, her own eyes shimmering. Once more, silence descended between the two. They didn't really notice the passage of time, caught up as they were in each other's eyes. It took the presence of a third in order to break the spell. A cat who was looking up at the stallion and was giving him a very solid and disappointed meow.
Well, oh, hello, Alex. Awake, are you?
Meow. Meow.
Ah, right. It is about feeding time for you, isn't it? Apologies, Miss Rarity, but I must attend to my taskmaster here.
He gave the feline a wry grin.
It'll only take a moment, and it'll keep him out of our mains. When I come back, would you like to get started?
Oh, most certainly. That would be wonderful. And don't worry, take your time.
She smiled as the owner and cat departed towards the back room. At least, she remained smiling up to the point where Alex paused, looked back at her, and then gave her a grin the likes of which she'd never seen. Perhaps Perhaps cats really were smarter than most ponies thought.
Are you ready, Rarity?
I am elusive. Let us begin.
Rarity found herself standing on the familiar stage, keeping her body perfectly still, as the tall white stallion levitated a tape measure, getting her widths and lengths, jotting down notes and looking over her form, before placing a line here and there on a piece of paper, a saddle dress slowly taking form.
I must say, my dear,
Elusive stated, lifting up his gold-rimmed spectacles.
your figure is one of the most marvelous I've ever laid eyes on. How do you do it?
You're hot.
Rarity translated in her head.
That's exactly what I said one day when I fitted Big Macintosh. And now I'm hearing it from the most handsome stallion in this dimension. Oh, it takes work. Most of my friends are unusually of the opinion that I'm overly fussy about my appearance. But they have no idea of the trials and tribulations that I have to go through in order to maintain this body.
Oh, you speak to the choir, my dear.
The unicorn stallion brought a hoof to his forehead, a pencil levitating in the air.
Often, my friends tease me of being too girly or frou-frou to even be called a stallion.
The nerve!
He chuckled as he turned back to her.
But do not be so quick to judge. I know they only tease, meaning nothing harmful by it. Well, there was the one time when Barry switched out every bolt of fabric I had in the boutique with pink lace. But I think he knows now to not pull anything like that again.
She found herself giggling, a sound that caught his ears and perked them. Soon, he began to chuckle alongside her, the sound of laughter filling the shop.
Oh, Sir Elusive, you must lead such an interesting life.
Oh, it's been quite full indeed.
He smirked, turning his attention back towards the drawing.
Oh, but enough about me. This is your time, my dear. Tell me, what do you do?
Well,
She licked her lips, her practiced spiel firmly within her head.
I'm from a somewhat noble family in Philadelphia, having struck out at the tender age of 16. As you saw from my cutie mark, I have something of a penchant for making umbrellas and weatherware. I've my own shop, not too much unlike yours actually, where I take in custom orders, mainly from Pegasi. My brand is not nearly as well known as yours is, but I'm meek enough to get by for now. One day, elements willing, I'll be able to take the fashion world by storm.
My,
Came the reply, a smile upon his face.
it certainly sounds like you've got a lot of work cut out for you.
Oh, nothing I can't handle, I assure you.
Indeed. Also, Miss Rarity,
Elusive allowed his spectacles to slide down the bridge of his nose, a half-lit gaze leveled at her.
it's awfully unbecoming for lovely young ladies like you to tell such bold-faced lies, don't you think?
Her heart shot up in her throat, eyes wide. How did he know? What could have given it away? What did she do? She felt a moistness upon her forehead and found her answer.
Oh dear.
She sighed theatrically, her head lowering.
I should have known. Your legendary eye for detail has found me out.
The stallion chuckled, a dark black pencil flying through the air as he began to touch up the spot on her fake cutie marks, where the makeup had begun to run.
It's all right, my dear. You should have used actual body paints instead of makeup.
You're not upset that I lied to you?
The unicorn stallion shook his head, his smile still in place.
Not at all, my dear. In fact, I'm rather in awe that you know the spell for Cutie Mark Vanishment. Not even my friend Dusk knows of the spell, and he went to the Canterlot University for gifted unicorns.
Rarity chuckled before lowering her head, stepping off the stage.
Very well. Yes, my talent is not in making umbrellas, though I can make them. They're just not my specialty. I just wasn't sure how you'd like my true cutie mark, so I substituted for another.
Miss Rarity.
He lifted a hoof in a placating gesture before she turned away from him, her eyes cast downward.
I apologize.
She stated before picking up her umbrella.
I shan't waste any more of your time.
He was upon her in an instant. She suddenly found her hooves being held by his as he looked imploringly into her eyes.
Oh dear. I may need to rethink that theory again, Twilight. I think I'm going to explode. You've got twice.
Miss Rarity, please, don't let this secret eat away at you. Though you may not feel comfortable in sharing a true cutie mark to me today, I want to let you know that I, in no way, think of you in any less a manner. You have been nothing but a joy ever since you stepped into my shop. In fact, I dare say, this aura of mystery about you?
He leaned in, breath hot on her snout.
It makes you even more alluring.
Oh, so elusive.
She returned, before slipping out of his grasp.
Oh, elusive! I've never met another stallion in all my years who has been so kind and patient and understanding with me as you have been today. You are a true gentle colt in the purest of words, and dare I even say,
She turned back to look at her male self.
the most eligible stallion in all of Equestria.
Oh, Rarity, when I opened that door this morning, did your heart sing as mine did?
Yes, and you, elusive. Did your stomach fill with the dance of a dozen butterflies, the same as mine did when I laid eyes upon you?
Yes! Yes! Oh, it has to be!
It must be destiny!
Rarity found herself forgetting all else as her heart ran away with itself.
Oh, Rarity!
Oh, elusive!
The two white ponies collided together there in the middle of the boutique floor, hooves wrapped tightly around each other as they hugged and nuzzled each other passionately, tears of joy from their eyes.
My dearest!
My love!
Oh, how I've longed for this moment!
Me too! Finally, my life feels complete!
Awkwardly, their arms still bound to each other, the pair lifted themselves onto their hind hooves before shuffling towards an open window where the sun was streaming in. Placing themselves squarely in the beam of light, they looked out at the sun, pleading teary looks on their faces.
Please, Priscillaris!
Elusive cried out towards the sky.
Please grant this couple your blessing and love. May we never again find ourselves in loneliness and be blessed with the eternal bond of true love everlasting.
Please, Princess! Please, Princess Celestia, please!
Celestia?
Elusive gave Rarity a confused look.
Oh, I mean... Please, Solaris, please!
Together, hoof and hoof, tears of rapture streaming down their faces, the two ivory unicorns stared towards the sun, awaiting an answer to their prayers of love and fortune. Only only to be foiled by a blue Pegasus stallion nonchalantly scooting on a cloud in front of the sun, blocking their light, before hopping on top of it for an evening nap.
Well, that was rude.
Elusive took a more direct course of action, however, stomping over to the window, opening it, and bellowing.
Rainbow Blitz, you move that cloud out of the way right this instant, or so help me, Solaris, I'll bleach that miserable disaster you call a mane in your sleep!
Yeah!
Rarity heard a voice outside. Mercifully, the sunlight returned.
Okay, sheesh. What's the big deal? Interrupt your tanning?
I'm making a plea to the prince!
The unicorn yelled back, hoof shaking in the air.
I need this Blitz. I need his blessing in love.
Love? What?
The voice was coming closer.
You found a girlfriend, Lucy?
It's elusive. And she's not just a girlfriend. She's my soulmate. Destiny has finally rewarded me with my significant other. Not that you would know anything about matters of the heart.
Oh, this I gotta see.
The voice came even closer as the white stallion backed up, allowing the Pegasus to slip inside to land. Rarity's eyes widened as her suspicions were confirmed, the rainbow mane eliminating any chances of doubt. This was Rainbow Dash's male self.
So, who's the mystery man?
Blitz's eyes met with Rarity's and stopped. She could see the rose eyes shrink as he took her in, before switching his gaze over to his friend. He repeated the maneuver a number of times, Elusive looking at him with an expression of pure confusion.
Good heavens, Blitz! What are you doing?
Oh, sorry.
The stallion shook his head, blinking a number of times.
It's just that, well, you two haven't looked at each other in the mirror now, have you?
Rainbow, please.
The unicorn rolled his eyes before turning to the mare.
You have to forgive him, love. This is Rainbow Blitz, Ponyville's resident weather pony. Not the most cultured lot, but a good friend.
Oh, it's quite all right. Pleased to meet you, Sir Blitz. I dare say you remind me of a friend of mine.
Yeah.
The blue pony chuckled before squinting his eyes.
I bet I do.
Oh, right.
Rarity found her brain kicking itself.
Dash did mention something about him being aware of us.
Blitz, this is the Lady Rarity Umbrella. Today, she walked into the shop, a simple customer. Today, she walks out as my one true love.
Oh, elusive.
Rarity found herself swooning at his words, taking comfort in them despite the predicament she found herself in. Rainbow found his eyes rolling at the spectacle, earning a glare from his friend.
Blitz, I thought you'd be more tolerant than this.
I'm sorry, but from here, the two of you look more like twin siblings to me. You're like gender swap reflections of yourselves. It's actually pretty creepy. I mean, have you checked to see if you even got the same cutie marks?
Rarity's heart skipped a beat at hearing the emphasis he put on the words gender swapped. She would have sweated her fake cutie mark right off again had the stallion by her side not spoken up.
Oh, Rainbow! Rarity is a specialist in producing umbrellas and weather protection gear. You can see it right there on her flank.
Rarity shifted her body to the side, allowing the blue stallion a better view of her umbrellas.
As you can see, it is quite different from Elusive's cutie mark, and indeed does not match up to his in any way, shape, or form, especially not function.
Indeed. You couldn't get any two cutie marks as different if you tried.
He then directed an eye towards the white mare and gave her a quick wink.
He's protecting me!
She found her heart melting and fluttering all over again.
He's helping me keep up my guys. He's such a true gentlecoat.
Right.
Rainbow Blitz looked at the two unicorns, his gaze flickering between each one. White coats, purple manes, blue eyes, and they were holding hooves, which they hadn't been doing a second ago. That creepy tingle he was getting up and down his spine wasn't going away anytime soon. The kitty mark thing was a sham as far as he was concerned. He just knew that this Rarity was one of them. One of the weird ponies. But for now, he would play along. Actually, as he thought, playing along was exactly what he needed to do, as a plan formed in his vibrant maned head.
You know, you're right.
He stated, bowing his head towards the pair.
I'm awfully sorry for being, well, rude and stuff. Didn't mean to get your tails in a knot. Just haven't had a good week, you know what I mean?
Elusive let a smile come to his muzzle.
It's alright, Blitz. I understand. But you should learn how to better corral your words.
I getcha.
The Pegasus waved a hoof at the unicorn.
All that aside, hey, if you're happy, I'm happy. So, congrats to you two?
Rarity found herself being hugged and returning the hug as the stallion of her dreams embraced her.
Thank you, Blitz. Thank you so much.
The speedster stallion did his best not to blanch at the resulting sound before rearing up.
You know, come to think of it, this is such good news. How about I go and find Dusk and bring him over? I think he'd love to get to know the future Miss Elusive, don't you think?
Oh, Blitz, that's a wonderful idea.
Elusive proclaimed, though the mare in his hooves found her stomach sinking.
Oh, I should probably fix us all dinner. How long do you think it'll be?
Probably an hour to 15 minutes. You can never tell with Dusk. If he's not at the library, he's doing Solaris knows what, which Solaris probably does.
A roll of the eyes.
But still, don't worry about it. Just keep her around till we get back, all right?
Oh, I most definitely will. You can count on that.
He outright grinned as he gave Rarity another squeeze.
Alrighty! I'll see you two lovebirds later then. Hasta la costa!
Rainbow Blitz saluted before mounting his forehooves onto the window. However, before he took off, Rarity heard him add one more word under his breath.
Silly faker.
And with that, he launched himself back out the open window, leaving a trail of colors in his wake. The couple finding themselves alone again, the male unicorn chuckled sadly to himself.
That's hasta la vista, Blitz.
With a sigh, he looked back down, noticing his significant other's stillness. Gently, he cupped her cheek and turned her head to look at him.
Rarity, are you alright, love? You're not in trouble with some pony, are you?
The mare blinked before she regained her composure.
No trouble at all. It's just that... Well, I'll be honest, I didn't expect to stay here that long. I mean, this is all happening so fast.
Elusive nodded, his eyes giving her a comforting gaze.
Yes, it is, isn't it? But I can't deny the red strings effect when they finally bring the one you love straight to your door. Rarity?
Yes, my love.
She was lost in his eyes once more, putty in his hoofs.
Will you stay with me tonight? Have dinner with me? Meet my friends? I so want them to get to know the mare I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. Will you?
She tried to say no, Somewhere in the back of her mind, there was a purple unicorn under a bush, crying out for her friend to stop what she was doing, to stop performing this ultimate act of narcissism and falling in love with herself, to come back so they could all go home. But home had never felt like this.
I suppose I can wait around for a little while.
Whatever else might have been said was silenced by the motion of lips locking into a forbidden interdimensional kiss. To be continued on the next Cross and Arrow.
Big brother.
Oh, Silver! Sorry about that. We didn't see.
Elusive? Miss Rarity? Are you two in love?
Yes, your brother and I are very much in love.
Miss Rarity? Does that mean that you're going to become my big sister?
And my $10 patrons are Blue Bolt and George Garza. Thank you for donating $10 a month to my Patreon.
What? Burger King.
Dusk. I didn't believe you at. Shut up, Discord. Not the Discord that we have. The other Discord. The app Discord. Yes. Fuck off, Discord. Did somebody say my name? No, fuck off. But I just could not reach up to her. I always managed to get within like 3-4 yards distance from her, but she always managed to stay just out of reach. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, she was... Fuck off, Discord! Did somebody say Discord? No, not you, Discord, the other Discord. Fuck off! Okay, then. Why does he always get in my fucking recordings, dude? Ugh. Fuck, man. Anyway. I'm sorry, but from here, the two of you look more like twin siblings to me. You're like gender swapped fuck. Yes, gender swapped fuck. That's what I'm saying. You two are gender swapped fucks. I'm sorry, but from here, the two of you look more like twin siblings to me. You're like gender swapped reflections of yourselves. It's actually pretty creepy. I mean, fuck, I knocked over my soda can. Fuck me. Fuck you, soda can, for ruining my take. No, it's not destructive enough. Let me bring this over here. Hey, soda can, fuck you. You ruined my take. What the fuck? That was awkward.
I am no madmare, you're all well aware. There is a larger overlying reason as to why I must venture into the strange outdoors. Shampoo would just be a side benefit.
Girly Pab, I thought you were going after conditioner. Did you run out of both? Woman, did you run out of both and you were just complaining over the conditioner? Rarity, just get 2-in-1. Actually, no. 2-in-1 would not be good for you. I don't even like 2-in-1. Why am I saying you get 2-in-1? I don't like 2-in-1. Never mind. Do what works best for you. Just, do the thing, I guess.
Oh, just the bare essentials, nothing more, darling. We've got the makeup kit, we've got the rubies and the sapphires, and then we've got a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then we've got in here a full-blown desert eagle, a hellcat, a tube of toothpaste, a barrel of sea monkeys, a couple of coins, we have a thing of Play-Doh, some earplugs, some Pringles, a weird plush cat of my cat, Opal. I still don't know how that got in there. A Sharpie, a candy cane, a planner for when I need to plan out the days, a check, another check, where am I getting all these checks from? I need to know. My name is Rarity Umbrell. I have heard good word across fuck.
Yes, you've heard good word across fuck. Jesus Christ, why didn't I fucking talk like this when I asked my boyfriend to fucking date me? Where the fuck? Damn. Okay, I gotta take notes then. Let me be all over the top and shit like this then. Damn. Okay, Rarity, you're gonna have to give me pointers then. When the fuck am I showing up?
Mickey, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. You're not in the story. Mickey, get out.
Fuck you.
Damn mouse. Her heart shot up her throat, eyes wide. How did he know? What could have given it away? She felt all moist. Wooten approved.
Hey everyone, Agent Fluffy here, and thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. If you want to support me even more, feel free to support my Patreon. The links are right here.